to another episode of the Wrestling Maniac, your source of news happening around the wrestling world. Welcome to the program.
Hello, all. Welcome to the program. This is another episode of the Wrestling Maniac. Here we're going to cover the events that took place around the world of wrestling this week. We've already covered SmackDown Live, and we'll go back and cover Raw. Sorry this is a little bit late, but life happens, and I'm glad to be able to bring this to you today. On Raw 5/15 last Monday, we started off the show with Kurt Angle in New Jersey. Opened the show and he began to talk about Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, that settling their score, that Strowman had suffered a shattered elbow. He flew back to the United States and underwent surgery. So Strowman may be out for action up to 6 months. Reports this week that he may actually be out just a little bit longer. Angle informed the audience that this time that Extreme Rules for the pay-per-view, which was supposed to be Strowman and Roman for a gimmick match, that instead of this match, that there would be a match to determine the number one contender to face Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire, which is still a humorous name for a pay-per-view. But it would be a fatal five-way: Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt, and Roman Reigns. It would be an Extreme Rules match, meaning anything goes, which ought to be entertaining. Then, of course, the different ones that's going to be in this match come down, and they began to deliver promos, and craziness ensued when all got into the ring. And we'll talk about this a little bit more in detail at the end of the program. And these broke off into some matchups that we had at the end of the show, and it was pretty entertaining. Also, remember on this show was also The Miz versus Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship. After the opening segment was done, which took a little bit of time considering there was 5 people in the ring trying to get all of their promos in, which it was a little entertaining, but wasn't really impressed by it. But this is what we're left with, and I think this also signifies a little bit of the future of where we're going here on Monday Night Raw and WWE in general on the Raw brand. Next, we come back and we have Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. It was a good match. Jeff Hardy ended up getting the win through a roll-up on Sheamus. Again, the crowds was chanting delete, which is great. Don't know when or if we are ever going to see the broken gimmick in the WWE, which is a shame, and is Anthem Sports' fault. But Jeff and Matt Hardy are still over, and I'm glad that they are, and I just hope that they don't become irrelevant with the Team Extreme gimmick that they have, because they really are talented, and Matt and Jeff really are creative in what they have brought to the fans with the broken gimmick, which again I say is a shame that the fans have been kept from this. Next we get a match between a little bit of last week between Sasha Banks and Alicia Fox. I thought this was overall a good match, especially we had Alicia Fox going over Sasha Banks, which I know there are a lot of Sasha Banks fans out there that don't like this, but it's good that they're taking some time to build up for another woman to get a little bit of limelight. This is what we do. Sasha Banks can't win every match, and I'm glad to see Alicia Fox get a win here, and maybe they will add to this storyline this week and this Monday. Next, we get the Intercontinental Championship match with Dean Ambrose and The Miz. This was overall a good match, back and forth. Dean Ambrose and his resistance type build. One instance in this is that The Miz did hit the skull crushing finale, and Dean Ambrose kicked out of that, which I really don't like this trend of people kicking out of finishers in matches that are not on special events or that are signature moves of champions. You know, in some instances they protect champions and don't have people kick out of their finishers. In other instances they do, and I think it really takes away from the overall purpose of a finisher when someone kicks out of it. I mean, they say, oh, it adds to the drama of a false finish, but I don't really see it that way. The Miz, even though he's not the champion, he hit the skull crushing finale, and Ambrose kicked out. Miz couldn't believe it. And in another sequence, Ambrose clotheslined The Miz over the top rope. Ambrose goes over the top rope. The Miz puts Maryse in front of him at the ring. Ambrose doesn't carry and jumps, and Maryse moves, and Ambrose catches The Miz with a flying elbow. Ambrose tosses The Miz back in. Maryse is distracting the referee. Ambrose blocks a low blow attempt from The Miz. Ambrose low blows and kicks The Miz in front of the referee, and the referee calls for the bell. Winner by disqualification was The Miz, and of course The Miz is going to add to this, and he is going to build this up to where he can get another shot at the title. Of course, this feud is not going to be over. Hopefully The Miz will win. You know, the reason that let me talk about Dean Ambrose. I like Dean Ambrose. I find him amusing. But the WWE is so diluted, the Dean Ambrose character, to where that the Dean Ambrose can do, use the use of weapons, and that has that crazy edge and does things that there's a little hardcore. And the WWE has so diluted him and trying to make him more mainstream that he has lost part of his appeal to personally to me. And that Dean Ambrose, that if he had more of an edge to him, it would make him that more valuable of a character. And somewhere along the way, WWE Creative has, in an attempt to make Dean Ambrose more mainstream, they have taken away from the creativity of who Dean Ambrose is. And I think that overall it does hurt his character, and that overall it does hurt his overall star power. Even though Dean Ambrose is over, people love him. And I like him to a degree. That appeal is just not really there. That he's just a nostalgia act instead of to be taken seriously, and that's the issue. And I know a lot of the issue with people with the PG rating that they have on the show, which is an attempt to please advertisers, which I completely understand. But they need to find a little bit more creativity and giving these characters like Dean Ambrose that is special, that is main event level, giving them that feel of importance. Next, we come back and we have a segment. We're going to have a segment with Alexa Bliss and Bayley. This was good, of course. Alexa Bliss, when she comes to the ring and when she's involved in promos, really is good because she knows how to play up a heel She ends up with Bayley, and of course the exchange with Bayley is always hilarious. And I love what she said here. That Bliss suggests Bayley is jet lagged from a European tour, and she says Bayley will never get extreme, and Bliss says that Bayley is a good girl and has already had her moment in the sun, but it's over. So Bayley, why don't you go be a good little girl and go over and sit at the kiddie table where you belong and leave the championships to the adults, which is just a really good line. Whoever gave her that line is just really good. So I enjoy that. So we see that Alexa Bliss ends up getting a kendo stick, hits Bayley on top of the head, and Bayley goes screaming out of the ring. Backstage, we have a segment that between Angle and Bayley. The Angle says that no, we'll just make this a regular match between you and Alexa at Extreme Rules. And Bayley said no, she's willing to go the extreme. So Angle books a kendo stick on a pole match, which is a little bit interesting. I always love anything that is on a pole, like weapons or anything like this. Some of them are a little bit hilarious. Some of them are a little bit pathetic. WCW had some pretty pathetic on a pole matches, like Miners had, I believe. I remember one between Sting and Jake the Snake Roberts, and it was pretty awful match. It was so I mean, you need to go back and check that out. And Jake Roberts and Sting on a pole match was great. And the Snake was involved, and it was just really bad. So bad. Okay, leave betting to this. The next segment is with Jack Gallagher and Austin Aries, and we'll face Neville and TJP. This feud is continuing, and and this match just served to further the feud between Austin Aries and Neville and TJP, which was good. It was a good little showcase for the next. At the end of the match, at the end of the program, as it went along, the show ended with Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor. This was a very good match. It's one of Roman Reigns' best match is that he has had. He looked good in it. So did, of course, Finn Balor. Looked good. You know, we can complain about, well, they gave away a free pay-per-view match on Monday Night Raw, which is sort of true, but sometimes that's just the way things work out on these matches. I mean, let's go back and let's remember the Attitude Era. Now, I don't want to compare that. We know the Attitude Era was really good era, but legitimately in the Attitude Era, what I want to look at is the people that they had and the top guys that they had back during this time period. They had Stone Cold Steve Austin, they had The Rock, they had The Undertaker, they had Mankind, they had Triple H, and they had Shawn Michaels. Back during this period of time, they was able to give everyone their spots, give everyone decent title runs, and showcase each one. In some respects, now those were Hall of Famers, and those were standalone guys, and I'm not saying that the guys now can compare to Austin, The Rock, or these guys, but we're sort of seeing the same situation on Monday Night Raw as they was back then. We got Roman Reigns, we got Finn Balor, we got Samoa Joe, we got Bray Wyatt, and we got Seth Rollins. We got 5 guys. And then we have Brock Lesnar. In retrospect, this is what I would have done, and I know that many of you would have agreed with, is to have let Brock Lesnar get his win over Goldberg at WrestleMania, which was a great match. If he was going to take this extended period of time off, he should have dropped the title on that Monday Night Raw to one of these 5 guys. To one of these 5 guys, he should have dropped the title on Monday Night Raw. Even if it would have been Roman Reigns. It's absolutely pathetic that there is no title on Monday Night, no World Championship on Monday Night Raw. That they said, well, he's part-time, but I know that I've said that you don't, and I mentioned this quite a bit, that you don't have to defend the title every pay-per-view, which you don't, but the title needs to be there, and June is going to be when the title is going to be there. Here in a month or so, I guess, June 25th, Brock Lesnar is deciding that he's going to come back. Instead of all of this stuff, they could have built this title up. They could have put the title on Roman Reigns and had the feud between Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman to be over the WWE Universal title, and could have let Braun Strowman have a short title run. That would have been better than what we had today, and it would have enhanced those talents. It would have made more sense. I would rather have a Universal title run of Roman Reigns right now than Brock Lesnar any day of the week. I mean, you could do this. You could have had Brock Lesnar to come back, and when he come back, you could have had him win the Universal title off of Roman Reigns. Think about this. And then Extreme, or then at Great Balls of Fire, you're gonna have your plans were to have a Brock Lesnar title defense. There is to have the Brock Lesnar go ahead and have the Brock Lesnar title defense at Great Balls of Fire, and then had the blow off match at WrestleMania. It would have made perfect sense. Yes, they have fought before, but in this year it would have enhanced Roman Reigns to do this, and then you still have Brock Lesnar's title run. It doesn't make any sense at all, in my estimation, whether to be a short title run or a long title run, if you're going to be completely absent from the company. It would have made more sense if somebody would have come back and got that title. If not Roman Reigns, let Finn Balor, let him come back and win the title on that Monday Night Raw from Brock Lesnar. I mean, it's just not good. I don't think it's good for the overall brand, for the Universal Championship to be gone from Monday Night Raw over this extended period of time. I would have skipped probably the last pay-per-view, payback for a title defense. I still believe you need that you could have them tag team matches instead of having it defended every pay-per-view. You could do a title defense on Monday Night Raw, and could have had it defended at Extreme Rules and had it defended at the Great Balls of Fire. Well, how much more would this match mean if it was a 5-way? If the events would have stayed the same, how much more would this match mean if it was a 5-way Extreme Rules match for the Universal Championship? It would mean a whole hell of a lot more, and more people would be invested into this product than what is. And maybe the viewership would be a little bit better, and they would do a little bit better against some of the NBA playoffs and things of that nature that they're having issues with. We're going to get to 205 Live here, the results for it, which starts off with Noam Dar and Grand Malik was the first match in this bout. We see in the back that before the match that Rich Swann was there, and they had an interaction with Rich Swann. Overall, this was a good little match where Noam Dar he picked up a win. Next, we have Drew Gulak, and we have Mustafa Ali scheduled for a match. Mustafa Ali and Tony Nese is coming. He's going to have a match, and as Mustafa Ali is coming to the ring, Drew Gulak hits him in the back of the head, and then starts parading his sign, "No Fly Zone." And then we see after this, we see on social media a picture of Drew Gulak and WWE champion before he lost his title at Backlash, Randy Orton, in a photo, "No Fly Zone," which it looks like the WWE might do an angle with that. They might as well make some money out of this angle. I mean, it's pretty hot right now. The things going back and forth between Randy Orton and Will Ospreay, which we'll be doing a separate program over the Super Junior tournament in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Be putting it out pretty soon. We have a match. The end of the match was with Austin Aries versus TJP. And we've seen this before. They could do something a little bit different here. But they're trying to, I guess, still continuing this feud between Neville and Neville using TJP. TJP definitely, man, he just needs to change his entrance music. I mean, it does nothing for me at all. And I know people like it, the little video game thing, but maybe it appeals to kids, but come on, you're a heel, act like a heel. Not a anyway, I won't say that. So that was 205 Live, and setting up the match with Austin Aries and Neville there for Extreme Rules. And it seems like Jack Gallagher is going to be helping Austin Aries a little bit. He's been with him, even he was tagging with him on Monday Night Raw. So we'll see that. Now it goes back to NXT. I'm not going to go really over the promos of Bobby Roode, but he gave a promo here, which was pretty much saying that he was going to win at his match with Hideo Itami. The two matches here was Drew McIntyre versus Sean Maluta. This was a pretty decent match. Drew McIntyre looks amazing in the ring. Uh, he run with his running kick. You know, I've noticed that there are so many in the WWE using running kicks as finishers. You know, can't we change this up a little bit? I mean, I know they can't do the Impact DDT, which Drew McIntyre does, the double underhook DDT, which that's the move of Dean Ambrose, the Dirty Deeds. And he started using it after Drew McIntyre left the WWE. But I mean, how many running kicks do we need? We have the Kinshasa, which is a running knee to the face. We have the bro kick, and then we have the Halua kick of Sami Zayn. I'm not sure if there's any more running kicks in the WWE, but I think we need a little bit break up there. Let Drew McIntyre do something that's innovative. You know, he is a big guy, and he can do something a little bit more than just a running kick. That it's just don't. And then, you know, we have Aleister Black. He does a spinning wheel kick. And it just don't. I think there's too many running kicks that's finishers in the WWE. I mean, there's. Come on. Change things up a little bit. We get. Match or final matches between Cassius Ohno and Cien Almas. This was a good match back and forth. Cassius Ohno gets the win with the spinning with a spinning fist that he has. It's a decent finisher if it's Cassius Ohno. But again, we don't see either Drew McIntyre or we don't see Aleister Black, or we don't see Cassius Ohno on the pay-per-view, which the pay-per-view was a good length, but feature these guys, and I mean, more people's going to be tuning in to the pay-per-view. Get these guys, say, hey, these guys are here, instead of just showing them in the crowd. It's just, I don't like that. Use the guys. Put them in something. You know? Showcase them, which makes more sense to me. Alright, said I wasn't going to do this, but I guess I'll go ahead. We have is Impact Wrestling for this week. Fuck that out. But I'm going to go ahead and cover it. Give information out there, at least, of what happened on Impact Wrestling. I did watch it. It was okay. You know, I mean, is this Impact Wrestling or is this Global Force Wrestling? I mean, we have a tournament for the Global Force Wrestling Tag Team Tournament. LAX defeated Garza and Laredo Kid with a pinfall. It's so stupid. I mean, there's too many damn titles on this show. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. I mean, you have 2 world championships, and you have 2 tag team championships. You have the grand championship. Everybody's a champion. Everybody feels special. Give me a break. You had Congo Khan defeat Braxton Sutter, which made no sense at all if this feud's going to be going on. Why give away? They give away this match for free. They're building up a pay-per-view Slammiversary, and they give away the payoff match of this feud between Sienna and and this other and her little group with Congo Khan against Braxton Sutter and his supposedly fiance. They give this match away for free of Congo Khan versus Braxton Sutter, and Congo Khan crashes Braxton Sutter. He just completely lays him out. It's just, then we have a run-in. We have a run-in on top of this by some other dude, and I don't even know who the hell he is. It just makes no sense. It's comical. I think the point I think the great thing about covering this is just to cover this and say, and just to cover what what a piece of shit this promotion is. Um, that's the truth. We have then we had James versus EC3. We have James Storm win by disqualification when Ethan Hunt started whipping the referee. Magnus was on commentary, which is. Then Bruce Pritchard come down and he was involved, and then EC3 ended up taking out Bruce Pritchard in the ring. I mean, it was an okay segment, I guess, and I'm glad that I am glad that Bruce Pritchard's willing to take a bump to try to get some talents over, but it's just sort of ridiculous. This was for the three-way to determine the world title contender at Slammiversary. I mean, we got the Global Force title, and we got Bobby Lashley's title. It looks like those two would be facing each other to consolidate the titles, but no, we're gonna throw in a three-way match to determine the number one contender for the Impact Wrestling Championship of Bobby Lashley, who still has the three words TNA on the logo. It's awesome. Yes. And now we have the G-Force, the Global Force Women's Championship. I don't know. No one. Where the hell is the Impact Women's Championship at? And Sienna just squashed ODB. It was hilarious. And then we have the more nostalgia. We have this crap between Jeremy Borash and Josh Matthews, and then we have Joseph Park, who is a biz, come down and act like an attorney, and they're going to challenge Josh Matthews and him for find a partner. And his partner is next week. It's already been taped, already known. Josh Matthews brings down Scott Steiner, which I guess, I'm glad Scott Steiner gets a payday. It's always good to get payday. This promotion's such crap. Then we have the Ultimate X match, which is a little bit entertaining. Low Key and Trevor Lee and Andrew Everett. Again, why don't you save this for your pay-per-view? Come on. Why? I'm not gonna pay money to watch. I'm not paying money to watch Impact Wrestling because what's the funny thing? Yeah, Low Key, he wins. He looks decent in the match. He looks pretty cool, just having wearing his suit during his matches. But here we have that they have Slammiversary's going to be here. We're building up Slammiversary, yet it's in the Impact Zone. Slammiversary, they're promoting a pay-per-view to be in the Impact Zone. This promotion is such crap. It's hilarious. I love covering it just to make fun of it. People may get offended. Well, you know what? Get offended, man. Impact Wrestling is shit. And they really are. And what they're doing to the Hardys, their president, and I'd get into this now, so I have to cover it later. Their president went on a podcast this last Sunday and was talking about how that he had the rights. He didn't think that he had the rights to the Broken Gimmick. He know that he owned the rights to the Broken Gimmick and all this bull crap. And Anthem is a billion-dollar company, and it's pretty pathetic that they're so greedy that they're keeping the broken gimmick from the fans, and that they're wanting that they're wanting to make money off of the Hardys, which they have. I don't think that they have any right to make money off the Hardys. Uh, this issue with the Hardys and the broken gimmick, it's going to end up in court. I hope the Hardys win. Fuck that Al. I understand that people want to go to Impact, that you get on TV, but it's a shit company. And people can do better. I don't understand why crap like this gets on TV and then promotions like WCPW in the UK is struggling and they have to end their programming because of YouTube's policy to demonetize wrestling revenue on their show. And we'll get into this now since it's, I guess, the news section. And this is a big deal of the demonetization of wrestling on YouTube. And this was just like today that WCPW had to cancel their free events that they was going to have that was going to be broadcast for free on YouTube, which they made money off the ad revenue. They put on Alberto El Patron versus Rey Mysterio, which happened in their tournament that they was going to have on YouTube. It had over 1 million views and made an ad revenue $43, which is pathetic. No company can operate under those conditions. And, I think of me just wanting to get started with a promotion that it's really going to be tough to get it off the ground, because of course small promotions like myself, we're going to have to use YouTube as a media base to get the word out and grow a base before you can go and you can get a syndication on a television program, which probably be pretty tough, even if you go to a local CBS, ABC, or NBC affiliate to get on any of those, or CW, or any of those affiliates, because there is such a negative connotation when it comes to independent pro wrestling that people take it a little bit too far. That even today, we live in a sensitized world where you can't have, blood and things like that, which I prefer the more of the attitude, ruthless aggression era, the more the old school era where wrestling was wrestling, and you could do stuff like that. But you would have to probably produce a program to where there was no blood or anything like that to make it on TV. What I wish WCPW could get Access TV on Access TV. Yeah, they could get on Access TV here in the U.S. and also they could get on ITV in the UK instead of the World of Sport, which, the World of Sport is still up in the air because Impact's involved with that and contracts and all that stuff, which, I just don't have any faith in Impact Wrestling. I don't have any faith in Anthem Sports at all. And we'll see here. We have here an event of Evolve 84 that happened this last weekend, and I found it. I mean, I looked for highlights of it, and I mean, personally, I can't pay for every uh, service in the world, but it would be nice to be able to see some of these different matches going on in the world of professional wrestling. We had some good matches that happened at Evolve 84, and I'll just go over some matches that I just have the matches I haven't had a chance to watch. There's nothing on YouTube of even the highlights of this. They just basic information of what happened. It said Keith Lee defeated Donovan DeJack. It was a good match, back and forth at Evolve 84. Said that there was multiple kickouts again with them using the finishers on each other, which this is part of the problem I have with some of these of wrestling today is there's too as finishers are not finishers. I mean, the finisher means it's over. It means 1, 2, 3. That it's it. Come on. Fred Ishii versus Jake Kincaid was a decent match. Then we had Leo Rush. Leo Rush, he's amazing. Defeated Austin Theory. This was a high-flying, fast-paced. Saw a little bit of this. I've seen some of Leo Rush's match, and I can only imagine there's a high-paced, crazy, high-flying match. Rush hit a moonsault on the outside early on, and it seemed in control. In bigger spots, Theory fought back and hit a power bomb, but came up empty on the moonsault. Rush then took advantage with his Rush Hour into the Dragon's Call for the win. Tracy Williams defeated Jeff Cobb. This was a matchup of speed versus strength. Cobb used a wider range of an arsenal of throws and power moves, while the smaller Williams used maneuvers to outmove Cobb strikes and his submissions. Then we had Chris Dixon and Jaka defeated Isis Venezuela and Matt Nix to retain the Evolve all tag team championships. Evolve was in Chicago, which it's good that they had something there to capitalize on the pay-per-view that was in that was for the WWE. Next, the last match that was on the evening was a 6-match card. Was Jack Sabre Jr. versus Ethan Page, and Jack Sabre Jr. retained his Evolve World Championship. This was an incredible main event. And Jack Sabre Jr. is proving to be one of the best wrestlers in the world. If I was Zack Sabre Jr., I would, if I was going to compare him to anybody, and he reminds me of, I've watched some of Lou Thesz's stuff, and Jack Sabre Jr. really reminds me of Lou Thesz. There was one more match. Was Matt Riddle versus Kyle O'Reilly. And Kyle O'Reilly was former with ROH. And Kyle O'Reilly retained the WWN Championship, which I guess that's okay. So that was that. I wish that been able to watch all of it. And I would love just to seen some highlights of it, but there was nothing of it online except you have to go and you have to pay for Evolve's site, which I can't pay for everything. So I'm just here reporting what happened. Uh, in the wrestling news, we have Southpaw Wrestling. That John Cena in an interview announced that is going to be coming back. They're going to be doing some more of that. He says, here we are 30 years removed from Southpaw Wrestling or more. And we're able to laugh at the ways things were done, especially a small time promotion was trying to keep up with with Vince McMahon in New York, doing crazy global stuff. Everyone else's was failing, and everyone else was falling by the wayside. It's just crazy. It's a last ditch attempts trying to keep up with the front runner, and it was really fun. Really fun, and I really look forward to some more episodes of Southpaw Wrestling. We had also a loss in professional wrestling to Pretty Boy. The Playboy Buddy Rose died this last week, which is sad. He was big in the AWA. He was the tag team champions with Doug Summers. It wasn't much of Buddy Rose in the WWF or WWF. I remember seeing a little bit. He was just a little bit behind the times, and what I remember someone doing an ad that, if he was really in the wrong era of wrestling, he would have been bigger in other areas of wrestling. We have WWE SmackDown. The ratings, the viewership was way down this week, which I hope the pay-per-view wasn't down. I hope that maybe putting the title on Jinder Mahal, that the ratings will be back up just a little bit, just because of just tuning in something new. It was down 7.3% from last week, and a lot of this has to do with the NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs, but still they should be able to compete. Tanahashi was injured this week, so he's out for a while. WWE has signed Lo Shira. She's like a Japanese. She's a Japanese top Japanese wrestler from the Stardom promotion, and that's going to be good. That she's going to be coming to NXT. Hope that WWE, they're going to continue to just sign big talent. John Cena also talked about a possible matchup with Roman Reigns, which this would be a good matchup. Even if they don't do the Brock Lesnar thing, they need to do John Cena, Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I know that Roman Reigns will go over, which I hope that he don't. Also, CM Punk was offered by a promotion in the UK for their tournament coming up, $1 million to come and come wrestle in that tournament. That's a lot of money to come wrestle in a tournament. And they said it was legit, and they said they would actually do it. And also CM Punk, what I would do is on their pay-per-views, because the pay-per-views is going to be out of this world to see CM Punk wrestle. I would also ask for a percentage of those pay-per-views on the shows on the pay-per-view so that I was appearing on. That's the way you do things. Money, money, money. They're going to be making a lot of money out of CM Punk for his first match back, if he is there. Also, Scott Hall was hospitalized this week in England for chest pains. And it said he was ill. I hope that Scott Hall said that he's okay. He in 2010 he did have a pacemaker and a defibrillator implanted to help control his abnormal heart rhythms. So let's hope that he's okay and that he'll be back trying to do some things, maybe in the ring. And I'm glad that Scott Hall is got his life straightened back out. Eric Bischoff talked on his program this week about death matches. This is a quote from Bischoff on wrestling. To me, it's inglorious with their business model. Theoretically, you can do whatever you want. If these matches was in the WWE on the WWE network, it's not supported by advertisement. But you are still judged by the company you keep from an advertiser, though, on your other product. He said he just couldn't see death matches ever being in the WWE. And it's such a small demographic that would be tuned into that, and I don't think the WWE would ever do anything like that. I mean, my promotion, there's no way I would have death matches, hardcore matches to a degree, but you gotta cut it off at some point to where, because if you continually to show hardcore matches and things of that nature, then it becomes a parody and people become immune to it, just like they did seeing all the blood and everything in ECW. That, where do you stop? I mean, and people are just not going to really show that today. I think you can have, to some degree, you can have that, maybe like what they did, in some respects, a ruthless aggression area with the hardcore stuff. You don't want to get it so watered down that it is nothing more than, just a regular match. I mean, because it makes to me, it makes no sense to have a cage match and no one juice or no one bleed. You don't have to, let out a pint of blood, but it's a cage match, a Hell in a Cell match, a tables match. There's you have thumbtacks and all that stuff and barbed wire. I don't really. I'm not really a fan of that kind of thing. What these guys are doing in these death matches is just, it's not wrestling to me. It's just brutalization, and I don't want to take my kid to nothing like that. And people want entertainment for their kids. And Triple H sent the Premier League, that Chelsea, he sent them a title. Making those rounds and trying to build that WWE brand with even. Oh, that'd be great if the WWE could get some promotion in the Premier League, or because it's just soccer or football. What the world terms as football. Soccer to us here in the U.S. is the number one sport in the world still. And then, of course, we had all the garbage that went on back and forth between the Hardys and Impact officials. And now Dutch Mantel is getting into the Twitter wars. It's really getting nasty between the Hardys and Impact. And you can't blame the Hardys. I love Reba Hardy. She's amazing. And she don't take no bull crap off of those guys, and I wouldn't either. And that's really a wrap up on the news for this week and on this program. I know it's a little bit shorter than it has been, but that's it, folks. And we'll talk to you later, and we've got some more programs that's probably going to be coming out. I'm going to do some coverage over NXT and the Super Junior tournament, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Thank you, and we'll talk to you again. Bye bye.